Hey friends,
Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast with your hosts, Nicole,
and Hannah, come join our porch swing conversations.
filled with lots of faith, hope, and heart. Hey Hallmarkies!
Aloha!
Today we will be talking about the new Hallmark Channel original movie, You Had Me At Aloha, starring Kavan Smith as Ben Burton and Pascale Hutton as Paige Marshall, shot on location on the island of Oahu. So I'm just going to read a little synopsis of the movie from the Hallmark Channel website.
Okay.
First, to start us off, when the host of a popular travel show resigns, the network enlists Paige to step in for the next season set in Hawaii. Unbeknownst to her, they have also hired Ben, who likes to push everything to the extreme. As these two new co-hosts clash over their opposing ideas for production, they grapple with the fact that not only do they need each other to further their careers, but they also balance each other on and off the screen. So, our first segment is going to be favorite moments from the movie. So, Hannah, do you want to start us off talking about some of your favorite moments?
Oh my, where do I begin? Well, first of all, before I mention my favorite moments, I think we need to acknowledge Pascale and Kavan.
Of course, yes.
We love them. We love them. We know them as normally as Rosemary and Leland Coulter from One Calls the Heart. And I just have to say, those two have been like my favorite couple since season 2. I love them so much. So every time I hear that they're going to do another project together, I get so excited. So excited. So I loved them in The Perfect Bride. I loved them in those two movies. They were so good. So when I heard they were doing this movie, I was so excited. And in Hawaii, like of all places, I love Hawaii.
I totally agree. And the fact that they came up with this story too is pretty awesome.
Exactly.
And I believe they were also executive producers.
They were. They
Yes,
were.
which is awesome too.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's
such a huge honor for them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like they deserve that, and they did such a good job too.
They did, definitely.
Yeah. So like when thinking about like some of my favorite moments, I think honestly it's kind of funny, but I think it was from like their first scene together, after they first introduced themselves and they were walking into the interview room. They were talking, and then Ben turns to Paige and he's like, "Have we met before? You look familiar." As soon as I heard them say that, I was cracking up laughing because, like, first of all, okay, because we just talked about this, like, I was like, is that like a nod to When Calls the Heart and the other movies they've done together? Like, I just thought that was so funny. Anytime like a show or a movie does that where like two actors have worked together before, it just makes me crack up. Like, I love that moment. So I think for me, first of all, like, just to start off with, that was like a big moment that stood out to me for sure. It was funny. It was so them. It was great. How about you, Nicole?
That was one of mine too. That was number 2 on my list. I have the host audition where they were kind of, bantering back and forth. And then their, as a lot of Hallmarkies say, their meet cute moment.
Oh, yeah.
Ben says, "Have we met before?" So I thought it was pretty funny, and I wrote down in my notes, can you say chemistry? I mean, Kavan and Pascale have awesome chemistry.
For sure.
And an awesome friendship as well. So.
Yeah, for sure. And it plays through on screen too. Like you can just like how natural they are together. And it's just so funny because like when you see those moments, like it's not just, this isn't character, this is them. Like this is literally them playing out like their friendship in real life. You can just see it on the screen. So anytime I see that, I'm just like, wow. Like, yeah, that's great.
They're 2 of my favorite Hallmark actors on the network. They're awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Another favorite moment of mine was the intro to Ben. I think it was in maybe the first 5 minutes or so. And some of the lines that kind of stood out to me that were really funny were Paige says, "Is he even going to be happy if he can't jump off things?" And then Millie, played by Jennifer Aspin, says, "He doesn't only jump off things." And then the scene cuts to Ben when he's on the cliff, about to go cliff diving in Belize, he says, "Who's ready to jump off a cliff? Woohoo!" I thought that was so funny.
It's so funny. He's such a child in that moment, and I loved it. And like that brings me to another one of my favorite moments, also from kind of that whole like scene there where they're arguing, and then she's talking about they're talking about like his past episodes and stuff, and she calls him Mr. Danger. Like that was hilarious. I love that.
I wrote that down too. And one of the that actually goes into my next point, but it also goes back to the second favorite moment on my list, when they're doing the host audition and the banter back and forth. One of the lines I wrote down from both of them, Ben says, "What I learned on my little show," and Paige is talking about the things that happen on her big show or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I can't remember word for word what she said, but and then Paige says, "You were too busy being Mr. Danger," which was really funny.
And yeah, and that's like the first time she calls him that. She calls him that later on in the movie. I just love that. It's just so funny. It's so funny. Love it.
Another funny moment, it was also one of my favorites, Paige in the video of the goats and her running away from the goats. I could not stop laughing. That would probably be me as well, running away from the goats.
Yeah, that was hilarious too. Oh my goodness. And another one of those moments, Kavan and the comment about him watching cats on skateboards.
I wrote that down. The
goat thing, that was hilarious.
I wrote that down. Paige and Ben running into each other in the hallway, and him avoiding telling her he was watching the goat video. Paige says, "What's so funny?" Ben, nothing's funny. Just videos, watching videos, silly videos of cats on skateboards. High comedy. Yes. I see you're going to get ice. Yeah, ordered some room service, and I'm going to watch a documentary about Muhammad Ali. Oh, great, the champ, the original goat. Greatest of all time. Kids are saying it all the time. It's sort of a saying. Gotta go.
The progression of that scene is so funny. It's so funny. And like he was being so comical, and she was so confused. I loved it. That was great. That was great.
What did he? I feel like she probably figured it out that he was watching the video.
Yeah, for sure.
The goat, because the face when she walks away is priceless. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was funny. And the amount of times that Ben says he was gonna make the numbers on that video go up. He was so proud of that. I loved it.
Yeah, exactly. And I wrote that down too. He was talking about that with Lewis when he was watching the goat video, the video of the goats and Paige, and Lewis comes up and starts asking him questions and what he's watching and everything, and then they start talking, and one of the lines that stuck out to me from that scene with the two of them, Lewis said, "You have to learn how to be a team player, and bringing up the goat lady is absolutely not the way to do that."
Yeah, we see that worked out very well.
Yeah.
That was funny. And just him like correcting her too when she was like, yeah, there's like 9,000 views on that video, and he's like like under his breath, 10,000 actually.
Another funny moment was the first time that they film together, the segment on the beach.
And I was gonna mention that, yes.
Paige says, "Can we go back to the script?" And Kavan's just like, "Okay, let's do that."
That was so funny. Oh my goodness. The amount, like the jokes that went back and forth about the script and how Ben did not follow the script
At all.
at all. And then there was that one scene, I'm probably gonna get this wrong because I can't remember it word for word, but he said something like, well, if you just followed your script, you would know that. And he's like, oh, well, I'll write it on the script or something like that.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny. I wish I could remember like the exact wording because that was
And
terrible.
then Lewis said, this is going to be a long 3 weeks.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And it sure was, but it also went by fast for everyone on the show.
For sure, it did.
And then the scene after that I thought was really funny was Paige talking to Millie about that first segment they filmed. And Paige says, it's a blaze I have to extinguish. And then a few minutes later, or a few seconds later, I think Millie says something, and then, or maybe Paige says something, I can't remember for sure. And then she says, after that, she says, I don't know, maybe I'll just live here in a hut selling seashells by the seashore. Millie, how cute. No. Like, no.
I don't think so.
Nope.
That's funny. Oh, and not forget Millie's air quotes.
Yes, that was funny too. Right at the beginning, before they went to Hawaii.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then number 6 on my list was Paige and Ben stranded when they were driving in the Jeep. Yeah. And they didn't have any cell service. Mm-hmm. And they start kind of bickering back and forth. And I think Ben says something and Paige goes into, don't say, I remember one time.
Yes.
Starts to say it again.
So funny. And then he went to say it again. He's like, oh, sorry. Force of habit. That was funny.
Yeah. And then I think there was another moment from that scene, but it was after the commercial break when Paige was talking about maybe not pointing at things or pointing at things. And Ben says, I'm terrible at it. And he says, ground, sky, terrible.
That was such a Kavan moment right there.
It definitely was. It was. And then Millie and Lewis back at the resort, just chilling out by the pool, like wondering where Paige and Ben are.
They were. And I love how they like both reach for their phones at the same time. Like they're just like, sitting there chilling, and then all of a sudden, okay, let's reach for the phone. Check it. Nope. Nothing.
Still nothing. I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're fine.
That was funny.
And one of number 7 on my list was Paige and Ben's conversation before the Sunset Harbor Cruise, and then the Sunset Harbor Cruise. Talk about those views. The sunset from the boat. I mean, so beautiful.
I was jealous. I want to go sailing at sunset in Hawaii.
Me too. That would be awesome.
And to think Ben thought that would be boring.
I know, right?
Boring. I know. What did he want to do instead? I can't remember. What was it?
Was it parasailing?
I think that was a different conversation, I'm pretty sure. That was something he wanted to do.
Yeah.
That was funny. And I will tell you, I was disappointed that they didn't go parasailing.
I
wanted to see them parasail.
I've never parasailed, but it looks like a lot of fun.
It does look like fun. I've never done it either, but.
And one line that really kind of stuck out to me before they went on the harbor cruise, Paige said, maybe if you stop going 100 miles an hour and slow down, you might actually get to see where you're at. And that's really kind of a lesson, I guess, for all of us, just to learn to slow down and enjoy the little things in life, or you'll miss them.
For sure. I think that's a very powerful statement. Like in life, things get very busy, and we oftentimes forget to slow down and just, smell the roses, as they say.
Yeah.
I just think, I think that was really great writing there to put
It
that in there.
definitely was, yeah. That was probably one of the best lines in the movie.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Number 8 on my list was Paige and Millie's conversation by the water, talking about the Hawaii bubble. And that was before Ben and Paige went to their dinner at the local Hawaiian restaurant.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that Hawaiian bubble. I loved how often they used that phrase all throughout the movie. Like that was I really like that.
I did too, cool yeah. And Millie is such a good friend to Paige. I love their friendship.
It's very humorous, for sure. Yeah. Millie is a character.
Yeah. And Jennifer Aston plays it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 on my list, Paige and Ben having dinner at the local Hawaiian restaurant and her talking about her travel show. And I love how interested and supportive he was of hearing about her show that she had pitched to the network.
I know. He seemed very genuinely interested in what she had to say about it. He was very, I don't know, he's a very good listener in that moment. And I think Paige needed that.
She did.
Yeah, that was really nice to hear.
And then a funny moment after they return from dinner, they both come into the resort and Lewis says, "Why are y'all being weird?" Like Paige and Ben said something to each other, and then Lewis goes into that comment about being weird, and I just cracked up.
That was so funny, and they were all so awkward at the scene, and I was like, that's totally Pascale Kavan right there. Like that Definitely. They play that off so well. I loved it. And then I loved I think it's the same moment when the group came and said they were going to a concert, and Ben invites Paige to come with him, and she says no, like she couldn't or whatever. And then he kind of turns around, they did the camera work there. He turns around really awkwardly, like he was gonna say something to her, and then she's like, "Good night," and he's yeah. He looked defeated there too. What's he gonna say? I wanted to know what he was gonna say.
Yeah, that was really cute. And then it was one of the next scenes after that one when Paige and Ben are sitting under the cabana. I almost cracked up when Paige was trying to fix her chair, and then
she kept coming back,
and then it flipped back. And Ben says, "So, how's that chilling thing working out for you?" Yeah, never felt more relaxed. Well, yeah. And then he says something. I can't remember what he said, but it was really fun.
That was funny. I loved how he kept critiquing her use of the word chill.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
He's like, "Girl, you're not chilling at all." No.
Oh my goodness. And then a few minutes later, they were talking back and forth about something, and Paige goes, "What are you? Like a personal trainer for goofing off?" That was such.
I loved it.
That was such a Pascale line.
It was.
And then the trivia contest, that was definitely one of my favorite moments. The 80s trivia contest.
Different. Yeah, that was interesting. I liked it. It was different for sure.
And I loved the scene after that when Paige kind of walks off to, have some alone time after the goat comment.
Yeah. Ugh.
And then it was really sweet how Ben kind of was there for her and kind of listened to her problems and everything, made sure she was okay.
Yeah, for sure. I liked it too. Now that I think about it, I love how he was about to turn it on to himself and be like, "Well, do you know why I left the show?" And then she made that comment to him, and he's like, something, and he kind of just brushed it aside. This moment isn't about me. It's about me. It's about her. That's not important right now.
Then the luau and the dancing, Ben's dancing or Kavan's dancing was hilarious.
So funny.
And
I
Ben
could totally do that. I could totally do that.
and
No, I
then Ben saying when they walked on stage, I apologize in advance for the fiasco you're about to witness.
I cracked up. That was the best. That was totally Kavan. That was all Kavan, and I was like, yes, you get
Oh
it.
my goodness. And then skip a few scenes and we come to one of the most heartbreaking scenes of the movie when Ben starts to like it looks like he's gonna kiss Paige, and she kind of stops him, and one of the last lines she says is, "What happens when the bubble bursts?" And I wrote in my notes, "No,
No,
this can't be happening in Hawaii."
I know.
And
What
then
do
if
you
you've
mean
seen
the bubble burst? You
I
are
don't
the
know,
bubble. Like you
you
can't.
are the bubble.
The
You were in the
bubble.
Hawaii. You were in the Hawaii bubble. Don't let it burst. And then a few minutes after that, Todd comes in again, and I wrote in my notes, "Ugh, Todd, why do you have to go and mess up everything?"
I know. Yeah, Todd. What are you doing? Come on.
Stop messing everything up and getting in the middle of Ben and Paige.
First of all, that guy and his wardrobe choices. Interesting.
I mean,
They weren't bad.
yeah, they weren't bad, but
Like the comics about him and
yeah,
his wardrobe choices.
yes. Number 13 on my list. Yes, I said 13.
Nice.
Paige and Ben's conversation after meeting with Millie and Lewis and watching the fireworks. The hand holding was so sweet.
So sweet, and it just like happened so naturally, and it was
Yeah,
beautiful. Like just was
yeah.
really nice.
And that scene, it kind of reminded me a little bit. I mean, not completely, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of the scene in the Lizzie McGuire movie with Lizzie and uh, Paolo, where they're watching the fireworks, and she kind of takes his hand.
Right. I completely forgot about that. You're right, though. It kind of does.
It totally gave me Lizzie McGuire vibes with that
Hey now.
scene.
Hey now.
Let's see. I wrote in my notes when Paige comes into the office and Millie's standing there and Todd is standing there co-hosting with Todd. No.
No.
Never.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't either. The chemistry just does not flow at all.
It doesn't. Definitely not.
I also wrote in about the scene after that, or maybe there might have been one scene in between that. Yeah, there was a scene of Paige and Millie in between it. But I wrote, so not cool how Todd told Ben about him being fired before Paige, or supposedly being fired.
I know.
Like, really? Not cool at all.
I know. Okay, one little thing that did bother me in that scene, when she first walks into the room with Millie and Todd, it's like daytime.
Yeah.
And she doesn't find Ben until night. Like, where was Ben all day?
I have no idea whatsoever.
I mean, if he's anything like Kavan, he was probably off, trying all the food around the island,
Yeah,
like
exactly. And Ben's line from that scene when Paige finds Todd talking to Ben, and Ben says it's the Hawaii bubble and it was bound to burst at some point. And I guess it just did. No, don't say that.
Like, it's still there, I promise. It's still there.
And then her trying to explain herself.
I know. Like,
Heartbreaking.
I will say she could have done a little bit better explaining herself there. Because, like, she didn't say, I didn't know, I just found out. Like, if I was her, I would have been like, I just found out. Like, come on. Like, I did feel really bad, though. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, just wait. Don't walk away. Let her explain herself, you know. Like,
Yeah.
just wait a second.
Todd and the self tanner at the end of the movie. Can you say awkward when he walks out of the hotel? I was just thinking, what in the world is going on with that self tanner?
Todd.
Oh, Todd. What's his first name? Todd.
That bubble bursted a long time ago there, buddy.
Todd Harper. Todd Harper.
Mm.
The hiking scene at Waimea Valley. I mean, that makes me want to go on a hike.
No, so pretty.
In Hawaii. Seriously.
Yeah, I know. So pretty. And then there's that scene also at the end where they're about to go to the waterfall. And Todd makes that comment about Paige's wardrobe.
Uh-huh.
And then Ben's like, you look great. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Scene after that, I believe it was the scene after that, when Ben and Lewis are at the airport. Heartbreaking scene because I just wrote, no, don't leave Ben. And Lewis too, of course. But especially Ben. Don't leave.
Wait, let's backtrack a second. I forgot. So they're at the waterfall and they're talking about how, like, Ben's like, we need to rewrite that scene because, you know, it's not going to be, you know, us anymore. It's going to be you and Todd. And then she's like, we're just going to wing it. And the flow of that conversation, I think that was the best. This was the best scene for me, honestly. Was that conversation, how real they were, and just the way that they looked at each other. It wasn't about the cameras. Like, it was just the two of them talking. And then when she goes in, she says something along the lines of, not like, the slogan for the show was for our next great adventure, and then she switched it and says your next adventure, because early in the movie he was like, it should be your, right? Like, I think that's how when she said that. Yeah, I think so. It was something along those lines. But when she said it the way that he said they should have said it, I was like, oh my gosh. That got me.
Got me too. And another line that got me was from the airport scene. And Ben said, she made me better. She made me crazy. But she opened me up in ways I haven't been in a long time. It's not going to be the same without her. I'm not going to be the same without her.
I know.
Ben, why are you doing this? You're making
why are you leaving?
You're making all of us cry right now.
I know. And Kavan's face there, those facial expressions, he nailed that.
He did. He definitely did.
You felt it.
One of the last scenes, well, this was Paige and Millie's last scene together. I loved that scene when she's encouraging her and telling her to go after Ben.
I know.
But she's kind of, telling her like it is, saying, why are you quitting the show? This is so unprofessional,
And then she hands her.
flight information for me.
And then when Paige leaves, she's like patting her heart. She's like, like, that was hard.
Yes.
That was funny.
The last two scenes of the movie, Paige and Ben standing by the ocean, and Paige says, I don't have a job. I don't have a plan. I don't know where I'm going. I just hope it's with you. Heart-melting line right there. So sweet.
I know. So good.
And then the last scene, the zip lining. Those views.
Yes.
I've never been zip lining, but it looks like a lot of fun. I don't know that I could. I'm not that big of a daredevil.
I have gone ziplining, and I can attest to the fact that it is very fun. I've never done it over the forest like that. It's on my bucket list because I think that would be awesome.
It would be fun.
Ziplining in Bali or Hawaii, because we know it was good in Hawaii. But either place, that would be amazing.
I'm just terrified of heights. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I understand. But
So
I loved it that she blindfolded him.
I did too. That was awesome.
Did she blindfold him? Yes, she did, and then she kissed him on the cheek, and then they slide off into the thing because that's like kind of like what she wanted to do on her show.
Yeah.
I love that.
I did too.
That was such a cute way to end the movie.
It definitely was. We definitely need a sequel.
We do.
And speaking of the sequel, what do we hope to see in a possible sequel?
Well, let me just say, they ended the movie in Bali. I kind of would like to see them in the next movie in Bali.
Same.
I think that it's just that would be such like beautiful scenery there, and like the stuff that they could do there. I feel like that would be really.
It would be awesome
to have a sequel, and like that opened up like the way possibly for there to be a sequel. I want to see like progression of what they do there. You know.
I do too. That would be awesome. Another thing that I hope to see in the movie and in a sequel, and we probably would get it, is more comedy and maybe a secondary storyline with Millie and Lewis. Maybe them finding love wherever they travel to.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be cool.
So for our last segment, I think we're going to go into a little trivia. So do you want to go first with your, do you want to start us off with your first question?
Sure. Yeah, so for trivia questions, we each kind of came up with our own questions for each other, and we were going to surprise each other with what they are. So for the first question I have, during their first meeting, Paige told Ben that she saw some of his Bold World episodes. Where were the episodes that she saw of him filmed? 1, Puerto Rico. 2, Morocco. 3, Costa Rica. Or 4, Brazil. And I can repeat them if you need me to.
Was it Costa Rica?
Yes, you got it.
Yay! I did not think I was going to get that one right.
Good job.
So my first question, thank you. My first question is, name one activity Paige and Ben included in the show. A, snorkeling. B, surfing. C, parasailing. Or D, horseback riding.
It was A.
You got it right. Ding, 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 ding.
Although I would have liked to see them do those other things, and I already mentioned that I would have loved parasailing. Surfing would have been amazing too, and horseback riding in Hawaii would have been awesome as well.
All right. Next question.
Okay, so what was the name of Ben's favorite pet turtle? 1, Henry. 2, Larry. 3, Gary. Or 4, Harry. And just for those of you who don't remember, this scene was when Paige and Ben were in the Jeep and they were talking about growing up. And Ben mentioned the name of his favorite pet turtle.
Was it A?
Very close. And honestly, I will say the first time I saw the movie, I thought he said Henry. And when he said Henry, I was like, that's a nod to What Calls the Heart. I was like, I literally, as soon as I heard that, I thought of Henry Gowan. But then I went back and I rewatched, and it was actually for Harry.
Harry, okay.
I thought it was Henry.
That's right,
so, like, either way, I think, like, yeah, I would have said the same thing. It's okay.
All right. Third question. Where did Paige tell Ben the next season of Next Destination is set to film? A, Australia. B, Iceland. C, Morocco. Or D, Italy?
C, Morocco.
Yep. Ding, 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 ding. You got it right.
thanks. And I honestly, I only know that because I remember when Kavan was talking about the movie and how he said he spent some of his years in Morocco and how much he loved Morocco. So I love that little nod. I love that little nod to his real life. So that was cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so my final question is, what was the name of the restaurant that Ben and Paige went to that only the locals knew about? 1, Mahalo. 2, Kakoa. 3, Maluhia. Or 4, Mokahia.
3, Maluo.
Maluhia.
Maluhia.
Right.
I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm so sorry.
I know, it's okay. I made sure I knew to pronounce them correctly because I wasn't sure if I would get them right either.
All right. My third question is, where did Paige and Ben go on their hike for their last segment? A, Seven Falls. B, Waimea Valley. C, Manoa Falls. Or D, Waimea Falls.
I feel like it was B.
Yes, Waimea Valley.
I thought I recognized the name. I couldn't remember how to say it, but nice.
Yes, you got it right.
Nice. I'd say we both did a good job.
I think we did too. And I think that wraps up our recap on You Had Me At Aloha, starring Kavan Smith and Pascale Hutton. Stay tuned for our next episode, coming soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Hallmarkies.
Bye, Hallmarkies. Have a good night or day, wherever it is wherever you are in the world.
Wherever your bubble finds you.